Hey there everyone, welcome to the CantoCast 1000 subscribers special video here to honor and celebrate and commemorate 1,000 subscribers here on the channel. Don't mind the back, we're in the process of moving and I know it looks bad, but I didn't want to put off this video any longer. So we're gonna go with what we have available to us. It's also worth noting that to celebrate 1,000 subscribers, we have a giveaway going on over at Gleam for a $25 gift card to the winner's choice of either iTunes or Google Play to summon on a new banner, or just buy some orbs, or use it on something else that's not Heroes related. It doesn't really matter. Once you get it, it's yours and you can do pretty much what you want with it. So if you're interested in potentially winning that, you can check out the Gleam link in the description. It's free and it will take you there and you can sign up and maybe win something. And of course, before the list kicks off, I want to be very clear and disclaim that this is a personal list. It is not a definitive list. It's honestly not even that serious of a list. So don't rage if your favorite waifu from Heroes is not included in my personal opinionated list. So yeah, if you want to tell me who your top waifus are, you can put them in the in the comment section, but just be nice. Because again, this is not serious. I couldn't even narrow it down, honestly. There's like 17 on this list, and it's, yeah, I'm bad at this, but this is what we're doing and we're gonna go with it anyway. So again, with that in mind, that this is my personal opinion list, let's go ahead and jump into my top Fire Emblem Heroes waifus. Corrin. What can you possibly say about Corrin that hasn't already been said, right? She's barefoot like all the time, and she is a pretty complex character, I guess. I'm not a huge fan of the Fates games, and I feel like her ults might deserve a little more love. She's gonna be a legendary hero at some point. I'm sure both male and female Corrin will likely be legendary heroes at some point. But you know, I'm totally fine with that. I feel like Corrin is a cool main character, and aside from her constantly apologizing in her namesake game, she's cool, so she made the list, and you know, it's Corrin. Barefoot Dragon Princess. Neffa. Neffa is such a cool unit to play with. She comes with Wrath, okay? And I don't even have a good Neffa, and she's still pretty bonkers. Not to mention, I love the Radiant series. You'll hear me say that a lot during this entire video, probably. But Neffa was always a cool character in those games, and you know, I feel like she's a unit that definitely deserves some love, and so I'm giving some love to Neffa on my waifus list. Plus, I mean, she's like a really, really strong unit if you put the time in. Like, if you build Neffa right, she is really, really good. Faye. I honestly don't care if she's a crazy stalker. I would let Faye stalk me. Sounds weird. But seriously, like, I feel like Faye is one of those units who maybe isn't the best, but her character is very endearing, albeit a little creepy sometimes, where she is, like, crazily obsessed with Holm. But still, you know, she's cute, and she's, you know, got an arrow and stuff. I like Faye. I don't really know. It's indescribable, honestly. I'm not really sure how to explain it exactly, but I like Faye. I don't care that she's a creepy stalker. She made my list. Ishtar. Now, I haven't had that much exposure to the Genealogy series. In fact, Heroes was the only game that really gave me any kind of experience with any of the characters or units from those games. But once I got Ishtar, who was plus speed minus defense, by the way, I loved using her unit. And not to mention, I mean, she looks great, obviously, but I love blue tome units. They're one of my favorite units to build around with in Heroes, and so Ishtar was kind of like an instant it had some instant gravitas for me. Plus, Odd Attack Wave is really, really cool. And at some point, I will try and play through the Genealogies games. Just probably because of Ishtar, if I'm being perfectly honest. Oboro. Oboro is super cool, right? So she's a retainer to Takumi, and she's a tailor. She makes clothes. She's super awesome. Easily, probably one of the best waifus in all of Fates. I wish that maybe her unit was a little bit stronger in Heroes, or that she got some alts. Maybe we'll have a New Year's Oboro. That would be pretty sweet. I would be happy about that. But, side note, I really like playing as her in Warriors. Playing with Oboro in Warriors is a really, really fun experience. And, you know, I don't get that many chances to use her in Heroes because there are a lot of good Lance users, and she unfortunately hasn't had a whole lot of love in the unit department. But maybe we'll get like a weapon upgrade or something in the future, or a really cool alt. I don't know. But I do love Oboro, so here she is on the list. Sherina. The Princess of Asker, and one of the name staple characters for the Heroes games. I know she's not like a main title Fire Emblem character, but I still love Sherina, and the Easter alt was super adorable, and I just, you know, I really enjoy all the Asker trio units, honestly. I wish they had a little bit more versatility in the game, but you only get one unit, and they're all neutral, and you know, you can't merge, and there's not really a whole lot you can do. But once we got the spring alt, I was very excited, and I got a good version of that too. I got good IVs on my Sherina, so super thrilled about that. Sherina's super cute, obviously, great waifu material, and she just wants to befriend all the heroes. Who doesn't love that? Azura. Azura is one of those units that actually saved my butt very early on in the game. Throughout Fire Emblem history, I've never really used that many dancers or singers, and so when I got an Azura who was plus speed minus res in Heroes very early on in the game, she saved me many times, just, you know, in arena and things like that. In fact, she was the only dancer I used until we had the performing arts units come out, almost 8 months later, I want to say. And then I got performing arts Azura, and then I just kind of used her. But Azura is always kind of a staple for me on my teams. And given the last banner that we just had, I have like a bunch of merges for her. So I might actually try and build something special with Azura. Also, super pretty, and she sings. So, great waifu? I think so. Again, she's from the Fates games, which I won't hold that against her. But, you know, still a really cool character, still a really interesting unit. Maybe could use some buffs, but she's definitely high on the priority list of alts, so I'm sure we'll be seeing more of Azura. And, yeah, she's a great unit. I love Azura. Jenna. Now, I know this is like, you guys are gonna be like, oh, this is a bit that he's doing. No, think about this for a minute. Jenna is actually a Fire Emblem Heroes waifu. Here's why. She's actually my wife, and she's totally fine with me spending real-world dollars on a mobile game. I ask you, what is better than a waifu who is fine with you playing Fire Emblem Heroes and spending money on it? Not much. Not much. But in all seriousness, she does support what I do and what I play, and even though she doesn't get it, she's totally fine with it. And ultimately, I think that kind of makes her one of the best waifus overall. Lyn. I know, right? Here come the groans. But listen, Lyn and Hector and Ellawood were my first game, right? Those units were the first ones that I ever had an experience with Fire Emblem on the Game Boy Advance. And I loved that game. I really did. And the introductory was Lyn. And you were a tactician, and you were trying not to get her killed. That's how the game started for me. So this is maybe kind of a nostalgia pick, a little bit. But ultimately, I love Lynn. It's, you know, I don't want her thinking I'm a bad tactician. I can't have that. So I have to put her on the list. Tana. Heroes was kind of the first exposure I had to the Sacred Stones as well. Now, it's a little bit different from Genealogy because Genealogy never got like an official North American release over here. But Tana and Sacred Stones had been here before. And I never had the chance to play Sacred Stones on the Game Boy Advance. I will fix that at some point in the near future. However, I always thought Tana was like top tier. Top tier. And she's actually a really strong flyer unit in the game as well. And the Summer Alt, I don't really need to elaborate on that. So, I won't. But for a multitude of reasons, Tana made my list. And is definitely top waifu throughout all of Sacred Stones. Elincia. Elincia is a really interesting character in the Radiant games. And you see a lot of character growth from her, just from the first game to the second. And that's one of the things I love about the Radiant series in general, is because you can see the growth of each character from one game to the next, kind of. And, you know, the stories may be different, but the character growth is still kind of centric to where you left off on them last in Path of Radiance and where they end up in Radiant Dawn. And Elincia is one of those characters for sure. When we first see her, you know, she's not real confident, she's just a little meek, and by, you know, the end of Radiant Dawn, she's a very strong character. And on top of that, her unit in Heroes is really, really good. Really, 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 really good. Amidi is such a good weapon, and I love Elincia. I love the name Elincia too, just, you know, for record. But best princess, probably Elincia by royal blood, probably. I might make that argument. But she is definitely on my top Fire Emblem Heroes waifus list. Lucina. I know, right? Lucina's got a bad rap right now because she just got a legendary ult, and people are upset. But listen, Basina is a great character. I love Lucina, and I love the Awakening games. I don't care who knows it. Awakening was a great game, and, you know, you can say what you want. I started with Ellawood. You know, Ellawood was my boy. I have played a lot of the Fire Emblem games, and I started off with, like, the original ones that got, you know, ported over to North America. So when I say that I love Awakening, I'm not, like, coming into the game late. Alright? I've played the games. I know the games. Awakening had a great story, and there was a lot of nostalgia behind that, given, you know, that we had characters like Tiki, who kind of showed up in a new form, sort of, and it was, you know, it's kind of a continuation to her. It was a throwback to other games. There was a lot of cool stuff, especially with the DLC that they did. Lucina is at the center of that. And while I don't think she's, you know, the staple Fire Emblem mascot that maybe Marth should be, I still love Lucina. She's a great character. Her ults are all really cool, and I mean, I'm a fan. And I took a quiz one time that said Lucina was my Fire Emblem Awakening waifu, even though I don't really believe that. But still, she's on the list. Anna. How can you not mention Anna when you're talking about Fire Emblem, just in like anything? Right? Anna has been around since the beginning of Fire Emblem, and she's in Heroes, and you can play as her, which is awesome. I also have a little bit of a nostalgia bit for Anna because in Awakening, which I just got done talking about, Anna was my avatar's wife. We got married, and we had Morgan, and it was awesome. So Anna in Awakening is a really cool unit. Anna in Heroes, still cool, needs some more love, but someday, somewhere down the line, we are going to get an Anna alt. I know that we will. I believe that we will. Plus, the fact that there's like a bunch of different Annas in a bunch of different dimensions, and that's really cool. I love that. And she's self-aware of that, which is doubly strange and confusing, but I'm just going to go with it because I love Anna. May. Alright, you can say what you want about Silica being best waifu in Echoes or whatever, but listen, May is like the unsung hero of that entire game. Alright? And she gives you snacks in Heroes. May was also the first unit that I plus 10'd 5-star in Heroes, and I do not regret that for a second. She hasn't aged all that well in the game, but I love May, right? I love May. And she's voiced by Sherina Lee, who is a phenomenal voice actress, and I love her too, but in a different way. So this is... different way? That sounds weird. Friendly way. I don't know how to say. Either way, I'm a big fan of her work. I love May. I'm glad she's in Heroes. We're going to get a May ult at some point, I'm sure, and I will be very happy about that. Lind. I was always a huge fan of Lind in Marth's game, and honestly, I never really cared much for Sita. I just didn't. In fact, when Warriors came out, didn't care about Sita, immediately shipped Marth and Lind together because in my head, that's the only way that it makes sense. I was super happy when Lind got an ult, the summer ult that we just had. She's a great character. She's a great unit. I love, again, a blue tome. What's not to love about Lind? Am I right? But she was always, you know, she was that character in Marth's story that I would always try and ship because, I don't know. I was just not a fan of Sita. Lind, however, is top waifu material. Micaiah. This is where it starts to get difficult, right? We've got 3 left on the list. My number 3 is definitely Micaiah. Again, I love the Radiant stories, and I know that a lot of people will probably disagree with me on that, but Micaiah is one of my favorite characters throughout all of Fire Emblem. She's super interesting. Her unit in-game, she's like a nuke. And I love the fact that her weapon is like very anti-meta in the sense that it's effective against cavalry and armor units. And that's really cool because I hate Armor Emblem and Horse Emblem. I want to die every time I run into that in Arena. But I love Micaiah. She's a great unit. She looks great. I love her art. Just everything about Micaiah is awesome. And eventually, we will get a Micaiah ult. Probably a legendary. Because, like, I don't know any other, like, straight-up blue tome legendary units that I can think of that are just, like, legendary hero material. Right? I feel like it's got to be Micaiah. So, I have my fingers crossed for the day that that actually happens. Tiki. Now, before I get guff on this, I'm talking about adult Tiki. Alright? None of this, none of that stuff with young Tiki. That's weird. I don't care how old she is in Dragon Years. That's weird. Alright? And that will have no place on this channel. But adult Tiki is super cool, and I loved her character in Fire Emblem Awakening. And she always wants to sleep, like all the time, and eat, and nap. Sounds a lot like Jenna, actually. But I married the real-world version of adult Tiki, evidently. But in all seriousness, I loved her character in Awakening. Tiki's always been a really, really cool character, just, you know, throughout all of Fire Emblem. I love her unit in Heroes. In fact, she was the second unit that I plus 10'd in game. And, yeah, she's awesome. I love adult Tiki. The Summer ult is cool. And she's awesome, and I love her. I love Tiki. She's super cool. Cordelia. Obviously, number 1 on the list is going to be Cordelia. I've talked about how much I love Cordelia in probably half of the videos I have ever put out. So, I even did a video for her birthday, if I'm remembering right. So, I mean, I love Cordelia. She's got really cool ults. Bride Cordelia, I'm like 2 away from plus 10ing. That's probably going to be the first seasonal unit that I plus 10. Just waiting for her to pop back up in a legendary banner or something weird like that. I got really close during the Bride banner that made a return. I got 7 units of Cordelia, 1 Lyn. So clearly, Cordelia and I are meant to be. And you can bring in all your Sumiya talk, okay? That's fine. I don't care. But Cordelia is the one true waifu in Fire Emblem Awakening. Plus, you know, she's a Ginge. So we gotta stick together. That's just all there is to it. But every ult that Cordelia has, the artwork is amazing. All of her ults actually are really good. Standard Cordelia is still one of the best flying lance units in the game, even though she was like one of the original units when the game came out. And yeah, all of her units have aged super well. Bridelia is still one of the best bow units in the game. I love Cordelia so much. Chrom and her will forever be shipped. I will never ship Chrom and Sumiya together. Sumiya doesn't even get a chance. It's Cordelia 100% all the way. So there you have it. There's my top Fire Emblem Heroes waifus list. It's not a very scaled down list, but there it is. Did I miss any? What are your thoughts? Let me know who your top waifus are in the comment section below. And remember, we are giving away a $25 gift card over for iTunes or Google Play. So if you want to sign up for that, be sure to follow the Gleam link in the video description. It's an episode, it's a video, it's all those things. Be sure to check out that link down in the description. But for right now, that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.